As I've said in the past, I get hundreds of comments on this channel every single day. And although I do my absolute best to read every one of them, I don't have time to reply to many of them. Seriously, I'd need to put aside about 8 hours a day to do that. Now, there is one request that crops up quite often, either from new riders or people that have had, a long hiatus from riding 20 or 30 years due to family obligations. People coming into motorcycling new or coming back into motorcycling who want advice on how to go about it safely. People asking for my recommendations as how they should go about it. Now, really, this is a huge subject. Seriously, you could write an entire book on it, so there's no way I can cover absolutely everything in this video. But what I will try to do is give you enough tips to get you on the right road. The bare bones of the subject, if you like. Now, this is a talky video, not a show and tell video, so I'm just going to run some ride footage in the background. If I start telling you about things that you know already, you can just zone out and enjoy the ride. Now, if you have something to add to this video, please feel free to do so in the comments section. But be sensible, be aware that there are newcomers to this hobby or pastime that will take note of what you say, so please don't misdirect or misinform people. So first things first, your motorcycle. Whether it's a new one or a used one, get to know your bike. Most motorcycle manuals will give you a checklist of pre-ride checks that you should carry out before every ride. Some also give you a weekly checklist of a more involved weekly examination of the bike that you should carry out. Take note of these instructions, they are important. Brakes, tyres, chains, lighting, these are all crucial safety elements of your bike. Don't ignore your tyres until they're flat and then complain about the handling. Don't ignore your chain until it's so loose it's jumping off the sprockets. By getting to know the parameters that all these elements of your bike should be within, it will equip you with the knowledge that at a glance will tell you when something's wrong. If you don't do this, best case scenario is that you end up stranded somewhere. Worst case scenario is it could cause an accident. For the most part, manufacturers and dealerships ensure that your bike is safe and road legal when you take delivery of it. But get it into your head, that only applies to the day you take delivery of it. Once you've ridden away on it, the responsibility is yours. Also, part of this process is regular cleaning of your motorcycle. I know there's an awful lot of people on my cleaning videos that throw in comments about, oh, I'm too busy riding my bike, I haven't got time to clean it. I'll tell you now, those people are fools. What that tells me about those people is that they never check the motorcycles, because if the components of your bike are covered in crud, there's no way you can inspect them properly. So take some pride in your machine, keep it clean, keep it well protected, and keep inspecting it. When things go out of whack, they can go out of whack very quickly, so it pays and it's good practice to check your machine over regularly. I have made several videos on all of these subjects. They're there and they're free for you to watch. Take advantage of them. Now, before we get on to actually riding your bike, let's talk about safety equipment. Gloves, armoured jackets, armoured trousers, proper motorcycling boots and a decent helmet. And I suppose high-vis clothing or accessories come into this as well. Buy the best protective gear that you can afford. But remember this, most of this type of equipment which is available on the market is only rated for abrasion resistance and low speed impacts. It's not a suit of armour or a force field that will protect you in any eventuality. Don't allow the fact that you're wearing this type of gear to embolden you to the point where you think you're invincible, because you are not. It will lessen the chances of injury at low speed accidents. But once you get above 20 or 30 miles an hour, it is for the most part ineffective. It's not going to save you. Although it might help make your body more presentable for an open casket funeral. And the same goes for high-vis materials on your clothing, or whether you're wearing a high-vis vest. These materials are way overused these days, and I have read some scientific reports that they are in actual fact quite ineffective at getting you noticed by other road users. So do not, under any circumstances when you're wearing reflective or high-vis materials, think that everyone can see you and you can ride with impunity and that it's their responsibility. It's not. It's your responsibility. I'm not saying don't wear it, what I'm saying is don't overestimate its value. Same goes with helmets. Buy the best you can afford, but don't ride thinking that that £1,500 or £1,000 helmet is going to save your life come hell or high water, no matter what happens, because it's not. It doesn't matter how good or how expensive it is, it won't stop you from being decapitated if you go through someone's windscreen at the wrong angle. Right, and now for the section on riding. And I'm speaking here from experience, not just as a civilian motorcyclist, but as an ex-police officer as well. I would wager that I've visited more accident scenes and seen the aftermath than 99% of people that are likely to watch this video. I've spent time on cold winter nights with a torch looking for severed body parts, and I've also done my fair share of literally shoveling people up off the road and dispensing them into heavy duty garbage bags. I've been responsible for investigating over 100 accidents to ascertain what the cause was. I've also had to present my findings at court and coroner's inquests so that the cause of accidents and deaths could be judged. I attended the Lockington rail crash where one man's impatience in that he couldn't be bothered to wait for a level crossing to open up caused the derailment of an entire train and the death of 9 people plus himself and his son that was in the car with him at the time. And one thing that I can tell you for sure, something you can take to the bank: stupidity and impatience kills. We see it all the time. People who are in a rush. Those people that pull out from a side street in front of you because they think their time is more important than your life. People recklessly speeding past you in traffic, breaking the speed limit, weaving in and out of the traffic, or filtering in standstill traffic recklessly, overtaking when it's not safe to overtake, and speeding off into the distance. Don't be one of those people. Quite often you'll see these people actually get nowhere, because even travelling at a moderate speed, you will eventually, quite often, catch up to them at traffic lights or junctions. They've put both themselves and everyone around them at risk, and in doing so they've gained about 4 metres of roadway. I haven't read the statistics on this behaviour recently, but I remember reading an article years ago where it was estimated that over a 20-mile journey, that kind of riding behaviour only actually saves a few seconds, at the most about a minute and a half on the journey. I mean, seriously, what can you actually do with a minute and a half that is so important? Just because a motorcycle is capable of travelling at high speed, it doesn't mean that you should travel at high speed. Keep up with the flow of the traffic. There's no need to overtake unnecessarily if the traffic is travelling at a reasonable pace. I often get it thrown at me by people who've taken advanced riding courses about making progress. You must make progress. If there's a car in front of you and it's not travelling at the maximum speed limit, you must overtake it. Why must you overtake it? There's no need to overtake it. It doesn't matter how good a rider you are or what riding qualifications you have. The simple act of overtaking in any circumstances creates a potential hazard for yourself and for others. You're unnecessarily increasing the chances of an accident. Unfortunately, this is the beta male complex rearing its ugly head. The current advanced riding courses originated from police riding practices. The police are part of the emergency services and they will often have to get to a place very quickly to save life or property. And this, unfortunately, is where this making progress thing has sort of slipped into civilian advanced riding courses. And in my humble opinion, there is no place for that criteria in civilian life. The public roads are not racetracks, they're a simple means of conveyance from one place to another. You do not need to make good progress when you're on your way to a biker cafe or when you're on your way to the coast to get some fish and chips. There's no place for that mentality in civilian life on the public roads, so don't allow people to bully you into thinking that that is how you have to ride. You don't. Take your time and just enjoy motorcycling. You don't need to be travelling at breakneck speed to get enjoyment out of it. I've ridden motorcycles now for 40 years and to me there is nothing more enjoyable than just riding in a relaxed, safe manner, feeling the wind on your face and the sun on your back, just taking in the sights. And that brings me on to the next part of this video, visual scanning of the landscape around you. As a new rider, take my advice, this is something that you should practice as much as you possibly can. A lot of people just ride along tunnel vision looking at the road ahead. But the road ahead is not always where the danger comes from. Side streets ahead of you, even fields. Twice in the last 4 years I've had a deer jump over a 5-foot hedge straight onto the road in front of me. You should be scanning all around you for signs of potential danger, and that includes keeping an eye on your mirrors and what people are doing behind you. And if you identify something that you think could possibly become a danger to you, back off your throttle and wait until you see what it is actually going to do. And get ready to stop if you have to. Cover your brakes. You should be covering your brakes at all times. Animals are the most unpredictable hazards that you're likely to come across. And that includes roadkill. Seriously, rabbits and squashed hedgehogs are extremely slippery. Whenever you see any debris on the road, always slow down and take evasive action. And it should go without saying, on bends, always, if you can, take a line that will avoid manhole covers, especially when they're wet. As I've said, visual scanning is one of the most useful weapons in your armoury as a motorcyclist. Early detection of problems on the road is, in my view, key to avoiding accidents. Now, most single vehicle accidents happen as a consequence of losing traction on the road. So, to that end, cover your brakes, and when you do need to use your brakes, squeeze them gently, don't yank on them. When you carry out manoeuvres, keep those manoeuvres gentle and fluid. Rapid, jerky movements and sudden hard braking are the key factors for traction loss. And when riding conditions change, i.e. it goes from warm and dry to cold and wet or even icy, adapt your riding manner to suit the conditions. Slow down, brake even more gradually and gently, which obviously means braking earlier, and that's where your visual scanning comes in. And calm your manoeuvres down even more, because obviously traction is going to be compromised in those circumstances. Don't expect your tyres to do all the work for you. As good as modern tyres are, They are no substitute for good riding skills that take the riding conditions into account. If you find your bike slipping and sliding in those kind of conditions, it's not your bike, it's not your tyres, it's your failure to adapt to the road conditions. End of story. And do not rely on ABS and traction control. These devices are emergency safety features designed to take control of the situation when you have lost control. In both cases, they only activate when traction is lost, when the bike detects that traction has been lost, either under braking or acceleration. And they are designed to attempt to recover the control that you have lost. You should never ever ride in a manner that is reliant on those safety features being there for keeping you safe. That is bad riding. A good rider should very rarely, if ever, experience either of those devices activating. Now, I'm aware that time's running in and I've only scratched the surface here, but this could literally run on for hours if I let it. Final thing, when you're riding, take a commanding position on the road. Don't ride in the gutter, because that leads to people trying to squeeze past you when there isn't room. And use the entire width of that piece of carriageway to line yourself up for bends and corners so that you can take the smoothest lines possible. And always leave a good, healthy distance between yourself and the vehicle in front of you. And the last piece of advice that I want to leave you with is ride as though you and your bike are fitted with a cloaking device which is permanently switched on. Never assume that other road users can see you. Do not rely on other road users seeing you and taking responsibility for your presence on the road. Always assume that no one else can see you and ride in a manner that you can control in the event that that is the case and they can't or haven't seen you. Right, I'm going to leave it at that, and I will look forward to other comments coming on board in the comments section which can further expand what I've said here, because as I've said, there simply isn't time for me to go through everything that's in my head. Once again, thank you so much for watching this video and taking the time to support this channel. I really do appreciate it. I do hope that you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And if you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell and ensure that all notifications are enabled in your settings. Now, I will of course be back next week, so until then, please ride safely and I'll see you soon.